Hey guys, this is Aaron with Tracer Tactical. I'm here with AJ. AJ, thanks for coming over here. I'm excited to go over this kit with you. Why don't you tell everyone a little bit about your background and a little bit about this carrier we have here.
How's it going, guys? I spent 15 years in the military, and 10 of those were in SOF, specifically as a critical skills operator in MARSOC. Just talking about today's gear, this is the LV-MBAV, one of my favorite pieces of kit. And
this is your actual one that you were issued?
Yeah, this is my actual one I was issued. And
what year was that issued to you?
So I got this one back in 2015.
Okay.
But I know these were really popular during the high marks of the GWAT era, especially in Afghanistan, for the MSOTs, Marine Special Operations teams out there. The biggest thing as an operator is having options. So, of course, you have your designated kit for different specific mission use, but I don't necessarily want to use my black gear, my DA kit, for everything. So this is where the LV-MBAV was such a critical piece of gear for us, and for me specifically, because this gave me options for greenside patrolling, reconnaissance, any type of low-vis operations, utilize this for VBSS, maritime stuff. So when I didn't want to thrash my DA kit, the way it was set up, this would be my go-to. And having a slick, comfortable, low-vis vest was hugely instrumental in having the modularity when it came to my kit.
And what were some of the things you liked about this particular carrier?
The thing I really liked about the LV-MBAV in particular was how streamlined it was and how thin it is, especially in the shoulders. Because when you layer on things like Rhodesian or any type of kind of recce kit on top of it, you don't have a huge layer of stuff on your shoulders. When you need to get in tight spaces or layer things on top, like clothing, you need to minimize the amount of gear you're carrying on body. This thing being so thin and streamlined and having a slick front was really instrumental, because I may want to just rock comm in a couple of magazines if I'm going down a ladder well on a ship. And another thing that made this particular piece of gear really useful for a lot of shooters was the fact that you could hang placards on it. You can add to it as needed. So, it gave you full body protection without a lot of bulk.
I'm very familiar with this carrier as well. The thing that drew me to it was honestly the aesthetic. It's a very flattering carrier in the way that the chest is stitched, and that was really important in kind of bringing this one back to life and taking some of the features that I liked about it, but then making improvements where we could. So the back on the original LV-MBAV, you're pretty much limited to using the JTAC or the 3-band Cummerbund that it comes with. The back doesn't open up. You've got mesh down towards the bottom on the insides to help prevent the soft armor. But the front and rear of the carrier is made out of a tweed Durastretch, which in nice, being thin and being able to stretch with a plate, what I've noticed on a lot of the carriers on guys that use these things, that it just gets thrashed.
Yeah.
Holes, a lot of them have holes in them. It's not extremely durable like you would want an overt carrier to be. And what I found interesting about this carrier was that you have a lot of Marines that, specifically MARSOC, that they're using it in low-vis applications, but then they're also using it in overt environments where they're wearing a carrier with, like you said, comms, magazines. They're throwing a placard on it. There's a ton of these things floating out there, especially on eBay, where guys have modified the fronts, sewing Velcro on the front, sewing the webbing so that you can run like a Crye style placard, putting ID panels on the back. Just these things have been ripped up and resewn for years and years and years. I mean, these things were issued starting in 2010. So they've been around for straight up 15 years. And there's still a lot of guys out there using this. you just can't find them.
Yeah, I'd say a lot of them do get thrashed for sure because they get so much use. And mine luckily was well taken care of because I really enjoyed having this particular vest, so I did a lot of gear maintenance.
When you use this carrier, did you use the soft inserts?
A lot of times, no.
Okay.
It depends on the environment, just like
Right.
anything. If you're going into a highly kinetic area, then yeah, I want to put in soft inserts. But a lot of times, we would just roll with plates in there, especially because the SOCOM issued plates were usually standalone, so you didn't need soft armor.
Right.
I forgot what year it was, but they were upgraded, so we actually got de-issued soft armor and then had the real nice ones.
Got it. That was the other thing that drew me to this carrier too, is the fact that you have an option to run either or, and the E-MBAV shape, for those of you that don't know, is kind of a triangle shape. This is what it looks like right here. And it does give you a little bit of sidewall protection. The front and back is exactly the same. And in conjunction with these and a hard plate over the top, the JTAC Cummerbund allows you to run soft armor side inserts and a plate on the inside. And one of the things that I've been hearing from a lot of guys that are currently fighting over in Ukraine, how soft armor is becoming so important again with frag and shrapnel. It's very, very prevalent over there. And so a lot of guys are running soft armor again. It's becoming, you need it, right? So it's,
Yeah, for sure. And it also depends on the quality of your plates, because the ones issued currently in SOCOM are largely unattainable for your average shooter, average enthusiast, unless you have several $1,000s per plate to spend.
yeah.
Then you're going to want the soft armor for sure.
Yeah, and just having that ability to scale up from an extremely low vis to where you're only running soft armor and no plates at all, just like a police officer would, wearing soft armor, and then having the ability to add plates to that in high threat environment. I think that was one of the, there's so many factors where you take a very low vis style carrier and you are able to scale something up to a complete combat carrier. In talking about all those different features and scaling, I wanted to kind of go over some of the improvements we made to the E-MBAV based on the things we liked about the LV-MBAV, some of the things we didn't like about it. I can get into that a little bit here, but the LV-MBAV has a different way of attaching the placard, and all the Durastretch that's in the front and on the back kind of limits you to what you can do. So now that we've got laminates like Squadron and B-52, we completely replaced the chest with B-52 laminate, and same thing with the back. So this entire back panel right here is B-52 laminate. What that does is it gives us a platform which is extremely durable. This is not going to get tore up like the Durastretch Tweave would. It allows us to do laser cuts. So instead of trying to hide the little tabs that allow you to run placards, we can just straight up cut them into this. These are tuckable, so you can tuck them away or pull them out and attach buckles, or you can attach placards using G-hooks, and they're in the optimal position. You don't have to stretch them down. It's not pulling the carrier in a weird way like the old one would. And then in the future, when we start adding more features to this, we can add laser cut. We can add Velcro. Same thing with the back. So that is something I am planning on doing later in the year, potentially, is doing a version of this with a full MOLLE back with Velcro for ID panels and things, especially for law enforcement guys that want that. Comms routing was another thing that I wanted to improve, and this one in particular, I ran a survey on Instagram talking about shoulder strap design. And this one, you've got long shoulder straps that come off the front of the carrier, and they terminate in the back, and you've got your Velcro in the back of the carrier, which is where you set your adjustment. A lot of guys prefer an overlap where basically even or very close to even straps coming off the back bag and overlapping on the front bag for ease of adjustment. Now, while you do lose a little bit of
That flatness we're talking about.
yeah, like the covert, if you're going like extreme covert, having that flat one layer of material is really ideal. But we're kind of tailoring this to being more of a, like, this is very low vis leaning, and then guys were kind of modding it to be overt, and more guys were using it in an overt way.
Yeah, I'd say, you know, when it comes to any like gear tools out there, you know, there's very seldomly, you know, one-stop shop. And so if you want a completely low visibility vest, then, you know, oftentimes people buy a specific product for that.
Right.
The beauty of this vest was that it gave you like 80% of what you needed in any direction. So you can make this work if you did want to layer clothing on top of it and have it totally unseen. And then also it could go into a, you know, fight. So that's the beauty of this. I mean, of all the gear that I was issued, there are a few things that I absolutely had to hold on to and make sure I didn't turn back in, and this is one of them. So, you know, having a modernized, updated version of this is pretty rad.
Yeah, we've been getting a lot of good feedback on this. There's a lot of guys who are big fans of the aesthetic and the ability to scale, and that was what we really wanted to bring to this, was the ability to scale and then also lean more on that overt status. And I'll talk about comms routing now because we're kind of getting into that. But you'll notice on this guy right here, this where the shoulder meets the 500D, it's sewn down. So you don't really have any good methods of running comms cleanly. So when we designed this front bag, we decided to keep the shoulder open, and then inside here on the actual shoulder strap itself, there is a large hole big enough to shove a military size cable, a PR-152 or 63 connector through this thing down into the bag. And then once you're inside the bag, there is a divider here, which allows you to run the cable either behind your hard plate or in front of it. You can go in between the soft armor and the plate with your cable, which is really, really nice. Same thing with the back. The back also has the same exact hole in it, so you can run comms cables. The other thing that we did was, you know, we made it compatible with the old JTAC Cummerbund, but we wanted to give people the option of being able to run a standard Cummerbund as well. So instead of sewing this panel all the way down aesthetically, I mean, we changed the material, obviously. We've changed the material on the sides. The way it goes in is, you know, laser cut holes versus just tacking this material down in certain segments. This whole back piece is squadron. So this whole thing lifts up and exposes a full Velcro field for attaching a standard elastic cummerbund with full adjustment back here. You can run like a Crye JPC where you got the weave, or there are products out there that Axel sells where it gives you a grid to be able to tie in those cummerbunds that actually weave with shock cord. You can do all that and then cover it up and secure your plate. And so the back of this bag, you've got a separate plate pocket. And then if you look inside right here, you can see we kept the ability to run the elastic from the cummerbund either over the hard plate, or you can go underneath. A lot of guys like the ability to run this elastic underneath their hard plate over their soft armor, and it gives you a feeling of the carrier hugging you very nicely. It's a very comfortable carrier. And you'll see that in this case, I've got this plate running, so you can go under or over, however you want to do it. But that also gives you a separate bag. Each bag has a separate pocket for your soft armor inserts, and that's where these guys come into play. So TAC 11 out of Texas, they also make all the armor for Faro Concepts. They're a small company that the owner's his name's Justin. He's been a great guy to work with. Small family-owned business. and they make the armor right here in the US. The NIJ level is HG2. It'll protect you against 44 Magnum and 9mm Luger. Getting into the Cummerbund now. So the old school one used a material called, this is like Hypo-On with Velcro on the back. It's called Ultra Comp. And obviously if you're running this style of placard, you have to pull your Cummerbund off in order to stick it. And then this would have to go over the top. And some placards don't allow for that. So there's companies like Axle that have made like modifications where you can run the auxiliary panel, or you have to cover these up with Velcro. There's a lot of these out there floating around that have Velcro mods where guys were sewing Velcro onto that part. We made covers for ours so you can have that. I know you were a sniper while in MARSOC, and you had expressed one of the things you liked about having this being slick is that you can go prone. You're not having debris stick to your Velcro. It cleans off really easily and protects all that Velcro when you're like in prone for hours and hours observing or whatever.
Sure.
So we included covers with ours, but the main part of the Cummerbund is made with a 3610 loop. So it's a low pile loop, but you can still stick placards. This will work with placards, and keeping that kind of contrasting aesthetic. This was a solution that we found that kind of did it justice to where it modernized it, it made it more versatile. And then going into the rest of the Cummerbund, we wanted to update that as well. And so on ours, we went ahead and we vented it. It's made out of laminate, so B52 laminate. We used a mesh, an Omega mesh on the inside, which provides a little bit of breathability. On the inside, we've got a full 6 columns of moly, and so your armor is now removable, and so is your radio. And then we added this extra column of moly in the front right here, so you can either move your radio around, or you can attach a 3-column moly pouch if you wanted to, like our Scout pouches, or you can do a 5.56 pouch and a pistol pouch. You can get really creative with how you actually set this carrier up, whereas with the old JTAC Cummerbund, you were pretty limited. All of these radio pouches, it's all sewn in.
Yeah.
You've got kind of a gap here where you've got nothing. I know that.
Yeah, it was definitely a limiting feature. I mean, as comfortable, like I said, as comfortable as this vest is, you can't have a one-stop shop. So the advantage of the enhancement is the modularity, which is always a benefit. And you are limited with these fixed pouches. And I do really like the improved setup, because now you are given options. You can move things around. You can opt in, opt out. But the pouches do kind of keep in kind of tradition of the original design and feel.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's pretty cool being able to add on, especially if you, like you said, you wanted to make this your primary DA kit or whatever. You can outfit everything that you'd want or strip it off whenever you need to. So
yeah, and another little cool feature, I think we took them off, but we're including these adapters for placards. And so the old school Axle placard that works with this, that hooks into these little guys right here, because we moved ours down to a more traditional location, and we didn't want to pop out here because the way it pulls the carrier in is all kind of weird. We created these little adapters that they hide up in the shoulders, and when you're not using them, they tuck down into here, and then you just basically pull out the piece of elastic. But they conceal in here and they pop them out, and you hook your placard in just the same. So really, it was all about designing something that remained scalable and paid tribute to the LV-MBAV. It was a really, really awesome carrier that they don't make anymore, and they only made for a limited time. But then just using modern materials and ruggedizing it was a big factor. Just making it something like, this is a carrier that you can lay down in the prone, and it's extremely durable, even more so than other carriers on the market, just because we're not using a 500D face. This is all laminate. You've got, which if you didn't know, laminate is a layer of 500D and, well, this one's B52. So you got 500D and 500D laminated together. So it's twice as thick. Plus this is sewn on to another layer of 500D. You get a lot of protection on the front and rear of this carrier. It's extremely durable while still maintaining a very low profile and slick appearance. That's it for the E-MBAV. I'm super excited about releasing this carrier to you guys. I hope you guys really enjoy it, and I hope we do the LV-MBAV justice.
I'm really excited about it too. I think this is going to be a massive improvement on an already awesome design. And you know, if you take any of this serious, and if this is part of your profession, way of life, good gear is always worth investing in.
We did do a price comparison in some of the other carriers on the market, and when you start adding in front plate, back plate, cummerbund, radio pouches, side armor bags, shoulder sleeves, it puts us right in that ballpark. Actually, we're actually under some of the other carriers when you start adding all those accessories in. So I feel really good about the price. It may seem a little steep, but these are incredibly time consuming to build. You can see all the stitching that goes into this, and you've got 2 separate bags per plate bag, a hard plate and a soft plate on both bags. So build time currently right now is around, I think, 4 hours for a complete carrier. So yeah, I'm super excited about bringing these to you guys, and I hope you guys enjoy them. Hey guys, I got Colby here from Black Box Group. Black Box is a good friend of our company's. We're neighbors practically. You're 3 minutes down the road. Colby's been in some of our media in the past, and they've lent us night vision for media and things like that. But we've got a really good deal for you. So we're partnering up with Black Box when we launch our E-MBAV. They're sitting on a limited quantity of M210. They're M210s, right?
Yep.
M210 special threat plates. They've got a limited amount in both mediums and larges. They are 1 year into their warranty, and so we're going to be doing a deal where you get 20% off when you buy a set of plates. They will ship through us, and so if you are buying an E-MBAV or one of our other carriers, our tic-tac-toe, you can order your plates. We have these on hand. There's no lead times. Colby's just going to drop them off, and we're going to pass on this deal to you guys. So you want to say anything about Black Box or what you guys do, what you guys specialize in? And
yeah, I'll touch base on that real fast. So I'm Colby Coleman, co-founder of the Black Box Group. We're a HESCO distributor as well as iRay, and we also sell night vision as well as OpsCore products and various other goods. But yeah, our primary mission and goal is to provide the best value to our customers that we also put our lives behind. So